Set up shop in my car real quick because I have to address this 𝗡𝗪𝗂 situation. There's so much misinformation on both sides of the aisle. You have people on the left saying that 𝗡𝗪𝗂 was found innocent. You have people on the right, like Stephen Miller, who said that the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 in the Trump administration's favor, which is not the case. So there's just so much misinformation, and this is why
unbiased factual news. Dude, there's nothing is unbiased. Everything has a bias, all right? You know what I'm saying? And we're not saying he was found innocent. Here's what we're saying. It's real simple, okay? In 2019, there was a cop who wrote some shit down on a paper, saw him at a Home Depot, said, oh, he's MS-13. He's got the Chicago Bulls hat. That cop was later discredited and found to be a liar. So that whole thing is suspect. At the time, an immigration judge looked at that shit and said, well, you know what? You can't deport him, okay? It could be a danger to his life, so we're going to make sure that you cannot deport this guy, okay? He didn't, win a ruling. There was no official, this guy's was never a gangbanger. It was just simply said that there was a do not deport. He had a, you can't deport this guy judgment in his favor. In 2019, during the first Trump admin, this guy has never avoided his immigration people. He's always showed up. He's never missed a meeting. He's got a fucking union job. This guy is not out there fucking around. He's not missing work. He's been squeaky clean. He's married to a fucking American woman. They have a kid, right? This guy is solid. He's not going anywhere. He's stable. And yes, exactly. I don't know. She's trying to be middle of the road. I hate people who do this. And just looking at her, I feel like she's a right winger, but she's trying to win right wingness over, by being the middle of the road. That's a real common tactic for right wing people. When right wing people don't want to identify themselves as right wing, they try to sit in the middle and say, I'm really unbiased. Yada, 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 right? It's fucking wordplay. We're going to look at her thing. But at the end of the day, the 9-0 Supreme Court said they got to bring him back. They must facilitate his return. There was no due process. This guy, his attorney, was not allowed to refute the government's claims. Both sides, yes. When somebody both sides it, they're always on the right wing side. Left wing people don't both side shit, because we know the other side is dog shit. Hold on, let's just look at her real quick, though, because she's looking pretty MAGA.
New media seat today, we have Jordan Berman. Jordan is a social media content creator and influencer and a lawyer who grew up...
Ah, there you go. She was picked to be a question asker, so we know she's right wing. I told you, bro. Unbiased Jordan, she's full of shit, dude. She's a plant. She's a system person, of course. We find it. And look at what they're saying here. She didn't answer, and you didn't push for clarification. Let's watch. This woman's going to be an ass kisser. She's a taint tickler. I'm telling you right now, Trumpy's like, I like that unbiased Jordan because she tickles my taint with her tongue. Oh, let's go, Jordan. Dude, I called it.
Jordan is a social media content creator and influencer and a lawyer who grew up following breaking down the news from a neutral perspective.
And she's unbiased.
Jordan is the host of her own podcast called Unbiased Politics, where she dissects the top stories from the week from a legal perspective. Jordan focuses on
she jerks it with both hands.
Journalism from
she
a nonpartisan
unbiased
perspective and has mastered explaining complex legal decisions to a mass audience in the short-form context. Her two biggest platforms are TikTok and Instagram, where she has roughly 500,000 followers on each. With that, please kick us off, Jordan.
Yeah, dude, she can't fucking read.
As you know, yesterday the House passed the SAVE Act, and many married women, soon-to-be married women, are concerned that the new voter ID requirements may inhibit their access to the polls. What assurances can you give women voters in America to ease their concerns?
Sure. Well, the SAVE Act, as you mentioned, was passed by the House yesterday. This is the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. I believe I'm getting that correct. And this act is a common sense measure. It would require proof of citizenship for voting in our elections. The Democrats have been fear-mongering about this bill, have been saying that married women, if their name has changed, they didn't change it on their identification, would not be able to vote. That is complete fallacy. There are outlined in the bill about how to avoid that. The president very much supports a common sense solution to ensuring that only citizens can engage in our elections. This is
again
critical.
Why are they so obsessed with making sure that only citizens vote in their elections? Is there some evidence of widespread voter fraud showing that non-citizens have been voting? Is there some, like, oh, no, the only voter fraud in the last election was 𝗙𝗪cy𝗶𝗪, their fucking director of national intelligence. There's zero evidence anywhere of non-citizens voting. And not that they're not looking for it. They've been looking for it for 20 fucking years. These guys, like, wake up like, immigrant voting. They obsess with it. Like, it's like their transgenitalia dream times 1,000. They've been looking for it in every jurisdiction, in every election, in every fucking court, and they found zero. So why are they wanting to revamp the entire system of voting that includes some snafu about women's maiden names and all this shit, when for the last 20 fucking years, there's been zero evidence of non-citizens voting? Zero. They have found zero. So you have no evidence of a problem, but you need to have some major upheaval to fix the situation that you have zero evidence for. And there's like $1 billion of lawsuits they've settled because they've had zero fucking evidence, and they said they had evidence. So the entire premise of the SAVE Act is nonsensical. It's like us passing a law that changes the way we vote because we don't want to allow Martians to fucking vote in our elections. Hey, no Martians vote in our elections. Doesn't matter. I think they do. I really think there's Martians voting in them. It's like directly off. All right, now let's see. She's going to go into her spiel. Let's see. Unbiased Jordan here is going to come in with the big, right? With the big fucking...
to improving the integrity of our elections and also the trust that American citizens need to have in our...
Oh, yeah, the trust that we need to have in the fact that there's been zero evidence. But now, why are we distrustful? Dude, I'm distrustful that the sun is going to rise tomorrow. But, dude, it's risen every day for your entire life. I know, but I don't know. I think I saw a Facebook post from Trumpy that said it wasn't going to rise tomorrow. Trump was right about everything.
Trust that American citizens need to have in our election. About how to avoid that. The president very much supports a common sense solution to ensuring that only citizens can engage in our elections. This is critical to improving the integrity of our elections and also the trust that American citizens need to have in our electoral process. So the president supports this bill, and that is a myth that has been proven wrong by the text of this bill. And I believe some of the co-sponsors of the bill have been very vocal in addressing that. And certainly I myself, as a married woman, would not stand before this podium if the president did not support such a common sense measure.
Thank you. For my next question, I actually want to give a voice to the American people. I sourced a question from one of my listeners. Her name is Bryn. She is from Oregon. And she asked, what, if any, plans do you have, the administration, for the money that will be generated by tariffs imposed on foreign goods? How will the administration...
The money that's going to be generated by tariffs? Oh, God. Dude, Jordan... What are you doing? Like, what is she doing, bro? This is the worst fucking journalist.
Facilitate the development of American industries when many critical components, labor, parts, etc., are much cheaper and more feasible from foreign entities.
It's a great question from your listener, and I want to thank her for submitting it to you to ask. That's the part of the new media seat is so that everyday Americans across the country have a voice in this room. So thank you again for being here. Thanks for the question. The president's point about his trade and tariff agenda is to bolster our manufacturing industries here in our country, to bring down the cost of living here in our country, and to ensure that we are maintaining critical supply chains here in America. We cannot
to bring down the cost of living here in our country,
dependent on countries like China if we want this country to be strong and wealthy. So the president wants to restore wealth to America by shoring up these jobs here at home.
By the way, America has fucking wealth pouring out its ass. The problem is not that America's not wealthy. The problem is that all the wealth is in the hands of like 50 people. That's the problem that America has. America has more wealth pouring out of it than anywhere in the entire globe, but like only 1% of the population controls like 90% of that shit. So we're all fucking dying. So the way the tariff works is this. China ships some goods here, and the people who get the goods shipped have to pay a tariff. But that tariff, though, we don't pay it to China. That tariff does go to the U.S., but it's paid by the U.S. citizens. So what happens is China delivers the goods to me. I'm the wholesaler. I buy it from China. I pay China what I owe them for the fucking goods. Then I pay the U.S. government the tariff. What'll happen is a small country can actually make a little bit money off tariffs if the goods are really popular in their country. So they make the tariff not too extreme, and it is a tax that the country is collecting. So I am paying China for my goods, and now I'm paying the U.S. government the tariff. But here's the problem. Now I'm also going to try to recoup that money that I just paid the U.S. government on my consumers. So what's happening is the government is making a little money, but it's being paid for by the fucking people consuming this shit. So it's fucked up, right? And what's more, though, is here's what the wholesaler's going to do. I don't want to pay the U.S. government this tax on goods. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a way to not pay this. So I'm going to look for somewhere other than China to get my goods. And what will happen is China will just move their factories out of China to some other country that doesn't have a tariff, right? They're just going to start making this shit in, some other country. And yes, it's going to increase the cost of things. And yes, the thing about this is it is a sales tax, right? It is a brutal fucking sales tax. We don't live in a vacuum, guys. Okay, so what happens is the tariff raises the price of all the Chinese goods coming in. All the retailers raise the price to offset the tariff, but then all the American-made shit are going to adjust their prices a little bit, and they're going to raise theirs to just under the tariff level. So what it does is it raises the price floor of everything because, that's really the problem. It's the fact that the same way that once people make more money, all the retailers just jack up their prices to take more money, right? The problem is really that people are just taking more of your money because capitalism is like, we just keep jacking the prices, always, in every possible way.
Which will result in good paying jobs and higher wages for the American public. And so Americans should trust in that process. He effectively implemented tariffs in his first term while driving down the cost of living in this country. And that's what he's focused on doing.
He did not drive down the cost of living. The cost of living didn't go down from Obama to Trump. The cost of living definitely went up. Okay, the price of housing skyrocketed during Trump's term. Let's be honest. Okay, why? Because hedge funds and corporations started buying homes en masse, and people were struggling. They had to Airbnb their second home because they wanted to make money without having to deal with tenants, et cetera, et cetera. But dude, he didn't bring the cost of living down. Okay, the cost of living didn't get cheaper under Donald Trump. I mean, the oil prices fluctuated and shit, and they overproduced oil, which drove the price of oil down to dangerous levels. And then the pandemic hit, and then everybody was super fucked. But like, dude, the world didn't get more affordable from 2016 to fucking 2020, man. What are we even talking about? You know?
Can I just ask, are there any specific ideas that the administration has as to what that revenue, specific tariff revenue, will be used for?
Yes, to the heart of your question, the president has spoke about the trillions of dollars that he expects in revenue.
The trillions.
Tariffs and how we can use it to pay down our debt and to ensure that we are no longer faced with a crippling national debt in the trillions that is going to bankrupt our nation for future generations. So
the trillions, by the way, 8 trillion of which got added by him. Yeah, they're going to give it away in tax cuts.
Will make America in the green rather than in the red, which any small business owner across the country, I believe, can appreciate. In the trillions.
So,
that is going to
so tariffs are the guy who added 8 trillion to the deficit thinks this time around, right? 4 trillion, which was tax cuts to the wealthy. This time they're doing more tax cuts to the wealthy, but they're going to bring so much money in from these great tariffs that are only going to make it so the prices of everything you buy doubles, but they're going to make so much money, they're going to pay all the debt off. Like, bro, what are we doing?
Bankrupt our nation for future generations. So that money coming back home will make America in the green rather than in the red, which any small business owner across the country, I believe, can appreciate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kelly.
Wow. Dude, yeah, that was not journalism. But dude, we knew she was MAGA. I mean, look at this. We know she's MAGA. How do we know she's MAGA? Okay, wealthy house, Tommy Lauren eyebrows, glazed looking face, not a hair out of place, $500 fingernail job, right? Dude, we know. Dyed blonde hair. This is like deep MAGA. All right. This is MAGA of all MAGA, right? She is so fucking Trumpian, bro. To bring about a sense of hope and unity. Dude, there will be no unity. There will be no unity with the rapist mass deporter. I'm sorry, right? I think you're foolish to expect that there's going to be unity. There will not. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.